Did you know that simply planting a few bulbs at a time, you can permanently cease purchasing garlic from the market? Indeed, that sounds just like music. You can always have fresh organic garlic at Music Home for an almost absurdly low price. Whereas most people spend money month after month paying a high price for garlic that is frequently imported music, stored for months, and comes with a weak aroma. The nicest aspect is that garlic cultivated at home is exceptional. It is stronger, tastes better, and smells better. It's entirely different. I'm going to walk you through the entire process of growing garlic on Botanical Vault today, so you can have bountiful harvests year after year without ever having to buy it again. These straightforward yet effective methods can be the difference between harvesting large, uniform bulbs deserving of an organic fare and little, worthless garlic. And stick on until the very end, because I'll reveal the secret music that changed my production and made my garlic literally treble in size. Before we go any further, please subscribe to Botanical Music Vault and turn on the bell if you are interested in actual music savings and food independence, the sort you see in daily life. Making your garden genuinely fruitful is one music step closer with each new video. Now consider this. A kilogram music of reasonably good garlic may cost at least 15 Rs. You can easily spend up to 200 rupees a year or more if you cook frequently and use 2 or 3 bulbs of garlic every day. The most ridiculous aspect is that you still have to pay a hefty price for this garlic music, which frequently travels great distances, is stored for months, and arrives weary and ineffective. However, if you grow garlic at home, you may always have fresh garlic with the best flavor and qualities at a very low cost. The cycle can go on forever if you plant, harvest, and keep some of the hundreds of cloves. For instance, music, haven't purchased garlic in 3 years. Every year, between March and May, I plant. I collect garlic from October to December, and I have enough for the entire year, plus extra to give to friends and family. In something you use almost daily, that is true food independence. And today, I want to impart that information to you. How to use a straightforward harvest with skill to break free from the market. Since most individuals struggle with music, let's move on to the first secret, selecting the appropriate cloves. Music is the most frequent error any garlic is purchased. The tiniest residual cloves are separated, and they are planted with the hope of harvesting large bulbs. Furthermore, that is not how it operates. The quality of what you harvest is directly determined by the quality of what you sow. You will harvest small, weak bulbs if you plant small, weak cloves. Large, firm, healthy, spotless bulbs are the best kind of garlic to plant. If at all feasible, choose types that are climate adapted. Garlic that is imported, particularly from China, frequently does not adapt well and yields little. Seed garlic should ideally be purchased from organic music marketplaces or local growers. However, as long as you adhere to specific guidelines, you can still use music market garlic if you don't have access to that. Select the bulbs that are the biggest and heaviest available. Choose domestic purple garlic over imported white garlic. Additionally, make sure the bulb is firm, spotless, and not sprouting too soon. Here's a golden rule for separating cloves. Use only the largest cloves on the outside. The little interior cloves should not be planted, because each large clove tends to create music a large bulb, and each small clove tends to produce a small bulb. Use them in the kitchen. It's easy math. Making music blunders taught me this. I planted cloves of every size the first year, including the little inside ones. And I picked a variety of garlic, many of which were small and useless. I only planted huge cloves the second year, and the difference was striking. Big, uniform music bulbs that look entirely different. Now, there is a trick that, in my opinion, makes music virilization practically necessary before planting. For 30 days, keep the entire bulbs in the fridge. That mimics the chilly, music winter garlic requires to mature into fully grown bulbs. Garlic may produce leaves, but not the proper bulbs if you plant without that prior cold music period, especially in warm climates. How do you go about doing that? Simple. Place all of the music unpeeled bulbs in the refrigerator in a paper bag. Just cool them instead of freezing them. Music removes them after 30 days. Plant the cloves after separating them. Both the success rate and the ultimate bulb size are significantly increased by this straightforward method. Let's now proceed to the second secret, song. The ideal time of year to plant. Many individuals complain that their garlic doesn't bulb after planting it at any time of year. Respecting the season of garlic music is crucial. The harvest requires 2 stages of music. It must first develop in temperate to cold climates. Music, then, longer days and greater temperatures are required to create the bulb. To put it another way, the plant requires a chilly phase to develop, followed by extended days of heat and music to fatten the bulb. The best window music in Brazil's south and southeast often occurs in the fall between March and May. It grows in the winter, bulbs in the spring, and is planted in the fall. October through December is when you harvest. To take advantage of the milder months, music is typically planted between April and June in warmer climates. To be honest, garlic can grow in areas that don't have a distinct winter and are always hot, but the bulbs will be smaller. In my situation, I plant at the end of April and at the latest by midday music here in São Paulo. The garlic gets less cold and produces smaller bulbs if you grow it later. Planting too early causes it to sprout before the perfect time. This is a customary music symbol that my grandmother used. It's time to sow garlic when the swallows show up. It seems straightforward, but it makes sense. They typically show up when the music temperature begins to decline. In many cases, ancient knowledge is more effective than any theory. The third secret is to properly prepare the soil. This is one of the most important and often overlooked points. Garlic requires a lot of work. The bulbs grow tiny and distorted in poor or compacted soil. The bulbs can grow to be gigantic in loose, deep-rich, well-drained soil. Garlic grows best in soil that is loose, rich in organic matter, has good drainage, and has a pH of 6 to 7. Garlic cannot withstand compacted soil or music waterlogging. Its roots must breathe and enter music with ease. At least 1 month in advance is when preparation starts. You loosen and thoroughly turn the dirt after digging the bed to around music 30 centimeters. Next, you generously add music, mature compost or cured manure, at least 5 music kg per square meter. I also add wood ash for potassium and bone meal for phosphorus, which is necessary for roots and bulbs. Each was thoroughly mixed in with 2 tablespoons every square music meter. After that, I gave the bed 2 or 3 weeks to recover before planting music. During that time of rest, everything may come together and music becomes the nutrients that are really accessible. I also measure the pH. I use agricultural lime to fix it if it's excessively acidic. I add music sulfur to make it less alkaline. Garlic is sensitive to a pH that is outside of the appropriate range, which may seem like a minor concern. The size has clearly changed music since I began preparing the soil in this manner. Bulbs that were once 5 centimeters in diameter grew to 8 music, or 9 centimeters. It's a big leap. The fourth secret is to plant music correctly. There are details that alter everything here as well. It involves more than just planting the clove in the ground. Each plant can have enough resources when there is proper spacing music to prevent competition. Leave 10 to 15 music cm between cloves in the same row. Leave 20 to 25 centimeters between rows. Light, music, air, and nutrition are all guaranteed in that area. Depth is important. Cover the clove with 3 to 5 centimeters of earth after planting it with the tip facing up, music. It takes longer for music to sprout if you plant too deep. It may dry out or get exposed if you plant too shallowly. I make furrows at the right depth. The tips of the cloves should face up. Gently press them, cover them with soil, and give them plenty of water. To encourage music roots, the soil should stay damp. Here's one more easy preventative tip. Soak the cloves in a solution of 1 teaspoon of baking soda, music, per liter of water for 15 minutes prior to planting. As soon as the clove starts to sprout, that disinfects them and significantly lowers the chance of rot and fungus music. Since I began doing this, losses music virtually vanished and emergence got more consistent. I always cover the bed with a thin layer of dried grass or straw after planting. Music. This mulch stabilizes moisture, inhibits weed growth, shields the soil from abrupt temperature fluctuations, and facilitates cultivation music from the start. Growth is the fifth secret. Garlic is simple, but it requires consistency. The soil should never be dusty, dry, or damp during the first stage, when roots and leaves are growing. I typically water 2 or 3 times a week, making adjustments based on temperature and precipitation. The plant is weakened by insufficient water. An excessive amount of water might destroy the bulb before it even grows and promote illness. Here's another important detail. When the lower leaves start to turn yellow, about a month before harvest, you have to cut back on irrigation and eventually stop it entirely. This dry finishing stage aids in the bulb's maturation, hardens its outer layer, and improves its storage. The bulb stays music too soft, cures badly, and rots in storage if you water it until the very end. During growth, feeding is also beneficial. When the plants are established, about 45 to 60 days music after planting, I surround the rows with extremely mature compost or worm humus without touching the stems. This prevents excessive leaf growth while maintaining steady music development. Balanced nutrition is rewarded by garlic. Weed control is another crucial responsibility. Music. Garlic is not a strong competitor. The final size of the bulb is a direct result of weeds stealing music, water, light, and nutrients. Mulch music is such a potent ally because of this. Nevertheless, I often check the bed and get rid of any music invading plants when they're still tiny. The harvest is altered by one additional factor. A flower stalk, a center stem that rises and coils, is produced by certain kinds of music. As soon as it appears, cut it. The plant will send energy, music, upward into flowering rather than downward into the bulb if you leave it there. Bulb size obviously improves when I delete all of the music stalks early. Sixth, keep the precise music harvest point a secret. The bulb is still little and improperly wrapped if it is harvested too soon. The cloves, music, start to separate, and storage gets worse if you harvest too late. The best time is when half of the leaves have already turned yellow and dried out, while the remaining leaves are still somewhat green. This equilibrium typically indicates that the bulb has grown to a healthy size while maintaining a sufficient amount of protective skin. I never harvest based only on the calendar. I pull 1 or 2 test plants to make sure. Music. The bed is ready if the bulb is well formed, the cloves are distinct, and the outer wrapper is firm, and music papery. Harvest on a dry day, ideally after the morning dampness has subsided music. I delicately pull the plants by hand, after using a fork to gently loosen the dirt. Here's another typical music error. Avoid cleaning the bulbs. Simply shake off any loose dirt while leaving the leaves in place. After that, cure the plants for 2 or 3 weeks in a dry, well-ventilated, shaded area. I either place them on a screen with adequate ventilation or hang them in little bunches. Garlic is ready for storing when the neck is tight and the outer skins are crisp and dry. This is the secret I first promised, the one that actually altered my outcomes. It is neither a costly product, nor is it a magical fertilizer music. Selection is what it is. I separate the music bulbs that are the biggest, healthiest, and most consistent each year after curing, and I only save them for replanting. Music. For the following cycle, They serve as my seed stock. Everything is changed by this small habit. You can progressively tailor the crop music to your own soil, climate, and cultivation method by planting only music cloves from the best bulbs year after year. The plants become stronger, more consistent, and more prolific after a few cycles. Vigor, music, and storage life improve together with size. I usually express this plainly because of this. Your worst garlic should never be planted. Make the most of music. Garlic should be kept dry, cool, dark, and well ventilated after curing. I maintain the bulbs in mesh bags, small boxes, or braids with good air circulation, trim the roots, and clip the leaves, leaving music a short neck. Because closed plastic music retains moisture, it is a mistake. I check everything once a month. The first bulb utilized is the one that softens music or starts to sprout. Here is this crop's utilitarian beauty. You can gather enough bulbs for everyday cooking and save the best ones for replanting with a comparatively music tiny bed. Each season contributes to the next. Gradually, you cease relying on the market for music and begin manufacturing a staple ingredient. Poor soil, erratic music moisture, or weed competition are typically the reasons why bulbs remain small. Lack of cold or improper planting time are frequently the causes of improper formation. If excess water and drainage are typically the source of the clove's rot, fix the issue and the subsequent cycle music will react. Garlic is so satisfying because of this. For a novice, it's easy enough, yet it's complex enough that every advancement is evident underground. You intentionally, carefully, consistently plant, harvest at the appropriate time, preserve the best, and then repeat. I want to hear from you now. Music. Have you previously planted garlic? Did it go smoothly, or did you encounter issues with poor sprouting or little bulb rot? I read everything, so please let me know in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe to Music Botanical Vault if this video helps you understand music, how to stop purchasing garlic, and start harvesting your own supply with quality and savings. Plant patiently, reap proudly, replant the greatest music, and break free from the market, and embrace